The Adventure of Kobe the Snake.
Produced by Goldstream Studios here in Jamesport, New York. Hi, this is a birthday gift for Kirk. Today is January the 14th, and it's a memory of stories that I read to you and later to Christy as bedtime stories featuring Kobe the Snake. Christy and Kirk lived in a beautiful house on the edge of town. The house had a small backyard, and behind the backyard was a woods with tall trees and lots of shrubs. Christy and Kirk always wondered what was in the woods. They had very good parents whom they loved very much, but their desire to find out what was in the woods was too strong. Their parents are always too busy to take them in the woods. So they planned to get up early on a Saturday morning on a warm day and explore the woods on their own. So one beautiful Saturday morning, Christy and Kirk woke up early. They got dressed quietly and sneaked out the back door. Their parents liked to sleep late on Saturdays, so they thought they could get out into the woods and get home before they woke up. They both dressed in old pants so their legs would not get scratched by the bushes. Christy wore a brown sweatshirt from her dad's alma mater, and Kirk wore a blue jacket. Christy took a canteen of water in case they got thirsty, and Kirk had a safety knife. After they quietly closed the back door, Christy and Kirk tiptoed across the yard and looked for an opening in the woods that lined their backyard. Luckily, they found one right away, and with excitement, stepped into the woods through the opening. The woods were beautiful. They had tall trees everywhere, as well as lots of bushes that covered the ground, except in one place where the shrubs had an opening. They stepped through the opening and soon realized that the opening was a path to go further into the woods. Kirk told Christy that they must stay on the path to avoid danger, or to be able to run home fast if a dangerous animal wanted to eat them up. They should also stay on the path so they can remember the way home. Christy said she knew all about paths and did not need Kirk to tell her. She said, "Look, I will show you the way," and she skipped down the path. Kirk shrugged his shoulders and ran to catch up with her. The path went straight into the forest from their house, then turned left and went up a hill. At the top of the hill, the paths divided into two paths. One path went to the left along the top of the hill. We'll call that the highway. The other went to the right down the other side of the hill, deeper into the woods. We'll call that the low way. Christy said, "Which way to go? The highway or the low way?" Kirk said, "Let's take on the highway." Christy said, "Okay, but we have to remember this on the way back and make the right turn to go home." So they headed along the highway, following the top of the hill until the path turned right and started heading down the hill. On their right, they saw a dead tree that had fallen down. Christy wanted to take a close look, so she headed off the path, past some shrubs, and came down upon the dead tree lying on the ground. The tree had a hollow trunk, which made for a nice home for some animals that lived in the woods. But at this time of the day, they were not home. Christy heard a rustling sound in the shrubs, and she wondered what was causing the sound. She got scared. It might be a dangerous animal, so she turned and ran back to the path where Kirk was waiting for her. Kirk said, "What's wrong, Christy? Why are you running?" "I heard a wild animal come back to our home in the dead tree," said Christy. "Did the animal follow you?" asked Kirk. "No, I don't think so. Let's just go," said Christy as she started walking quickly down the path on the way deeper into the woods. Kirk then heard a noise in the trees and stopped to find out. He saw two squirrels carrying food running for a tree, which they then climbed and disappeared. They kept going down the path. Some trees had blossoms on them, some had needles instead of leaves. Kirk wanted to climb a tree, but it was hard to find one with low branches. Christy spotted some berries on a bush and gave some to Kirk. They both ate some since they had no breakfast and were hungry. A little further down the path, Christy spotted a strange-looking thing in the forest about 100 feet away on the left. It seemed only a few feet high, a mixture of gray and brown. They discussed the dangers of going off the path to investigate. Kirk took his blue coat off and hung it on a branch at the side of the path so they could find their way back to the path. Christy led the way towards the strange structure. Kirk followed her. They were 50 feet from the structure when they heard some strange noises. It sounded like human talk, but was very misty in sound. They looked a little to their left, where the sound was coming from, then looked down to see a snake staring at them and moving its fangs.
Oh, no.
It was a talking snake?
No.
It must be the berries we ate giving us an illusion, said Kirk. But I thought I saw a talking snake. Christy said, you did see a talking snake, reasoning that both would not have the same illusion at the same time. Then they heard very clearly, welcome to the woods. I am Kobe. I live here with my grandmother in that house you are looking at. I will not bite you, so do not be afraid. Kirk said bravely, I am Kirk, and this is my sister, Christy. We are not going to hurt anyone either. We are just exploring the woods. Okay, said Kobe. Follow me home, and you can meet my grandmother. So they followed Kobe home, and as they got close to the house, they could see it had a front porch. They crossed the porch and ducked down into the entrance, which was part below ground level. Inside, they were greeted by Kobe's grandmother, who was working by a small stove. The grandmother smiled and said they should sit down so they could eat some pancakes that were just cooked. Kirk and Christy could not believe their eyes. 2 talking snakes. They had lots of questions, but they minded their manners and ate the pancakes that were delicious. When they finished the pancakes and thanked Grandmother Snake, they started to leave. When Kobe said, why don't you let me show you around the woods, at least this part of the woods? So Kobe led them from the house and back to the path. They turned left after getting Kirk's blue coat. The 3 of them went further down the path known as the highway, but it was now clearly headed downhill. Kobe led the way, followed by Christy and Kirk. Soon they could hear the noise of running water over rocks. They came to a crest of the hill and looked down the hill, and they could see the babbling brook. The path went straight to the creek and seemed to end at the edge of the creek. When they got there, Christy said, okay, now what do we do? The water's too rough to swim across. Kirk said, I don't know. I can see the path on the other side, but I don't see any way to get across. Kobe smiled and said, I think you will see a solution to the problem very soon. With that, Kirk spotted the top of a turtle moving towards them. Christy gasped when she saw how big the turtle was. The turtle was green and gold with small red dots on its face. The turtle lifted up its head and smiled and said, howdy, folks! Can I be of service to you? Christy said, ah, a talking turtle? Oh, this is a magic woods where animals can talk? My name is Wise Turtle, and I can help you solve your problem. Sure, Kirk said sarcastically. Christy said, let's hear your solution. Wise Turtle swam over to the edge of the creek where the path seemed to go into the creek and said, hop on, and I will carry you across to the other side. Wow, said Kirk as he hopped onto the turtle's big back. Christy said, no way, I'm afraid I will fall off and drown. Don't worry, Kobe said, I will ride with you. Let Kirk go first, and then you will see how easy it is. Wise Turtle has been doing this service for us for over 5 years, and nobody has fallen into the water. So Kirk climbed on the back of the turtle, and the turtle very calmly swam to the other side. When Kirk got off on the other side, he said, piece of cake. Come on, Christy, no problem. You can do it. The turtle swam back to the other side, where Kobe and Christy climbed on. The ride to the other side was uneventful, and Christy was relieved to get to the other side safely. The other side of the creek was very different. The terrain was rough, with lots of rocks, and the hills rose right up from the creek, except for a trail which headed north along the side of the creek. After walking about 100 feet, they noticed the flow of the creek was starting to slow down. Kirk looked ahead up the creek and exclaimed, "Hey, look up there! There's some kind of dam made of trees, tree branches and mud. That's what's causing the creek to slow down." They approached the mud and tree branch dam cautiously. Kobe was not afraid, since he knew what it was all about. In the distance they could hear the sound of chomp chomp, someone cutting wood. Kobe called out, "Bucky Beaver, you have visitors!" All of a sudden they could see this beaver dragging a branch he just cut towards the dam. He dropped the tree and came over to Christy and Kirk, and Kobe introduced them to Bucky Beaver. Kobe said, "Bucky, this is the hardest worker in the woods. He has built this dam, and his home is inside the dam." Bucky said, "Come on in. Don't worry, it is safe. I built it myself, and I live in it." As they went through to the opening in the dam, they could see the beautiful pond that was created by the dam. Bucky told Christy and Kirk that a lot of different types of fish lived in the pond, and if his dam were to be destroyed, they would all wash down the creek and die. Also, people do not come by, so there is no fishing, and he would be grateful if they would keep the pond as a secret, so no one will come and ruin the pond with bottles of paper and fish skeletons. They agreed to the secret because they did not want to share their secret new friends with the rest of civilization. They all climbed into Bucky's home inside the dam. It was very strong construction, and even kept Bucky dry in rainstorms. Bucky offered tea, and they all enjoyed conversation over their cups of tea. Kobe pointed out that they could continue over Bucky's dam back to the first side of the creek, but there was no trail or path to follow back on that side of the creek, so they would go back the way of the turtle. They thanked Bucky for his work and hospitality and told Kobe they had better get back home so they can be back before Mom and Dad wake up. Kobe led them on the trail back to where the turtle was waiting for them. The turtle said he figured they would come back after visiting Bucky. So they climbed on the turtle one by one, but Kobe stayed on the other side, leaving Christy and Kirk to follow the trail back the way they came by themselves. Kobe said, "This way you will learn the woods faster." Christy and Kirk said goodbye and thanks to Kobe and the turtle, and headed back up the hill on the trail known to them as the highway. After about 10 minutes they could see Kobe's house on the right side of the trail and the bush where Kirk had hung his blue coat to be sure they could find the trail after visiting Kobe's house. So they knew they were on the right trail. The trail continued to go up the hill. At the top of the hill they turned left on the highway that led back to the opening of the woods to their backyard of their home. When they reached the opening, they stopped and peeked out to see if they could tell if their parents were up yet. The sun was shining brightly now. Everything seemed still at the house, so they quietly went in the back door, went to their rooms, changed back to their PJs, and climbed back in bed. Then they dreamed of returning to the woods in the future. And that's the end of Kobe the Snake story.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Kirk. Happy birthday to you. Woo!
We hope you have a great day and enjoy these memories of Kobe the Snake. So we love you very much, and please, if you want, I hope that Kiara and Connor and Cole can listen to these stories too.
Happy to the family, love and health.
Well, happiness and love. Lots of love.
Lot of love.